Every time you pretend you arrived, and by arrive I mean had an orgasm, you send a message to your partner that whatever he's doing is working, that he should keep doing it, which means he's going to keep doing it and you are going to keep not arriving. Which is just horrible when you think about it. Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayanime, and in today's video we are talking about certain mistakes women make in the bedroom during sexual intimacy. I already know I'm going to be shy talking to you about this because I know that there are certain things I have to be explicit about, but I'm going to power through because this has to be an honest conversation, and I want this channel to be a safe place where we can have these types of conversations. Alright, I am not going to focus on the obvious mistakes that women make that if you're sexually active you probably know about. Rather, I'm going to focus on the ones that are very common but are rarely talked about. And the first mistake, which is very common like I just said, is not taking charge of your sexual protection, aka condoms. Okay, traditionally men have always been in charge of protection. We just hand over that particular responsibility to them. We expect them to buy the condoms, we expect them to use them properly, and we even expect them to be the ones to use it at the proper time. If you are sexually active, this is such a terrible place to operate from, and it is worse if you're not on oral contraceptive or you don't have an IUD, so your sole dependency is on condoms. Yes, they are the most effective option right now, but you cannot hand over that responsibility solely to the man. The first person who taught me the importance of women taking charge of their sexual protection was my mom. This must have been maybe 15 years ago, and she watches this channel, so I know she's going to see this video, so let me just say hi mom. As I was saying, the incidents that prompted us having the conversation around women being in charge of their sexual protection was one evening, and for context, she's a nurse, retired now, but she's a nurse and a midwife. So on this particular evening, we were in her drugstore and this woman came in to buy a packet of condoms, right? And after she paid and left, I must have made a condescending remark. I really can't remember what I said, but I said something that feeds into that stigma that follows women going to a drugstore to get a condom. You know, there's a stigma about that. So I must have said something that feeds into that. And instantly, my mom sat me down and told me never to say that because it is better for her to protect herself than to live with certain consequences. And this was at the height of that HIV rampage, you know, that was rampaging through the country, the world in general. Thinking about it now, because she's a nurse, she would have likely seen a lot of things that are a consequence of women not being in charge of their protection for her to be so verbal about it. Ladies, if you are sexually active, please do not leave the sole responsibility of protection on the man's hands, okay? Don't leave yourself open to STDs and unwanted pregnancy. The reality is that the burden will be more on you as the woman. Don't shy away from having this conversation with your partner and being clear about how you will both handle this. And when you have that clarity, still get yourself a pack of condoms. And if you are worried about having to go into the drugstore every now and then to get the small pack, get yourself the roll. I think there's about maybe 12 packs in there. Get that for yourself. And if that is too much for you, guess what? You can order online. There are options available to you. You want to do this because it'll give you a sense of control too. Some men can be very funny. If you leave this in charge of a man who is freaky about unprotected sex, he could lie to you and tell you, oh listen, I couldn't get condoms, you know, all in an effort to have unprotected sex with you. That's when you hear things like, oh, let's have sex skin to skin. It doesn't feel as good with a condom. I'm safe, don't worry, you have nothing to worry about. And then because you have dopamine coursing through your body, there's a certain weakness that comes with that. And you may likely say yes, forgetting that sexual pleasure is very fleeting. Within a few minutes, it's over. And if you did not protect yourself against the wrong person, you are left with a lifetime of regret. That few minutes becomes one you regret forever. So protect yourself. Now, number 2, and the second mistake is thinking you have to be an expert, okay? Sexual liberation is an amazing thing, right? Because it has empowered women to own and explore their sexuality without shame or guilt. It made this video possible, okay? So it's an amazing thing. However, at the extreme and unhealthy end of that spectrum are women who now believe they should be experts in everything that has to do with sexual intimacy. They put themselves under so much pressure and even feel inadequate when they do not know something about a particular aspect of sexual intimacy. They could even spend hours doing research, learning all the exact moves, and then they take all of that and start exploring it with just about anybody without truly understanding the repercussions or even having an emotional connection to the person. It becomes a race to how quickly they can master all that they've learned. Ladies, I know we are in a woke society, and TV, social media, and even your peers may make you feel that you should know everything about sexual intimacy and that if you don't, you are a prude or you're weird. But I'm telling you now that that is not true. When you explore your sexuality recklessly, all in a bid to become an expert per se, you miss something very vital. You lose the very intimate and amazing process of getting to learn about your body and your partner's body in a safe and loving space. And not just any partner, but a partner that you are emotionally connected to. A partner who makes you feel safe, loved, desired, and who cares about your sexual satisfaction. Because a lot of men do not. A lot of men use sex for stress relief, and you don't want to be the person being used in that manner. As high quality women, it is important for us to understand that it is not just sex. It is never just sex. And owning your sexuality and wanting to explore that does not mean you should explore it with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Honor your body, okay? And as you start to explore your sexuality or continue to explore your sexuality, let it be that you're doing it to learn about your body, learn about your partner's body, and what gives you pleasure and gives your partner pleasure. Not because you want to become an expert in bedmatics, okay? Number 3 is going to make me laugh. I hope I don't, but you can see I'm already beginning to laugh. Because even when I was writing this part of the video, I just couldn't stop laughing. And number 3 is when you keep pretending you arrived when you didn't. And by arrive, I mean had an orgasm. This is probably the most common mistake women make in the bedroom. And I feel this is because they don't want to hurt the man's feelings by telling him, listen, what you're doing is not really working. I get it. It's a sensitive topic, especially if the man you're talking to doesn't really have a sense of understanding and may just proceed to feel emasculated and insecure. But it is a topic that has to be brought up because in your bid to be selfless, right, and protect the man's ego, you are sacrificing your own sexual satisfaction, which is not good, especially when he is deriving satisfaction from your sexual encounters. I mean, imagine spending the duration of a relationship and you never arrived. Not even once. And on top of that, you have to keep improving your acting skills because you need to keep convincing him that you arrived even when you did not. Another reason you really want to have this conversation with your partner if you are in this situation is that every time you pretend you arrived, you are sending a message to your partner that whatever he's doing is working. So he has the permission to keep doing it, which means you are never going to arrive. Which is just horrible when you think about it. So you need to have the conversation, okay? The best way to approach this is to let him know in the most loving and gentle way that what he's doing is not really working. And then you start to show him what works for you, which can be a wonderful experience for the both of you, especially if you are deeply attuned to your sexuality. If he is a man who loves you, and your sexual satisfaction is important to him, trust me, he's going to take notes and he's going to make sure that he sort of like get you to arrive, because I mean it's a bruise to his ego and he has to redeem himself. And any man who, instead of listening to you, starts to get sensitive and angry, tries to guilt you or shame you into feeling like you don't know your body, is not the right man for you, because that just tells you that he doesn't really care about your sexual satisfaction and that it is all about him. Men who are givers in the bedroom take their partner's pleasure seriously, and that is the type of man you want. So ladies, stop faking it and start talking about it. You deserve to arrive. In fact, I consider it a part of human rights, okay? Now, number 4, but before I get into number 4, are you enjoying this video, learning something? If you are, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, share your thoughts with me, and even share it with somebody who's going to benefit from this video. When you do this, you are telling the algorithm that this is a good video and it should show it to more people. Now, number 4, and this is when you use sex for validation or as power play. So there are a lot of women who find validation in how quickly they can make a man arrive. They see sex as some sort of power play, how quickly they can get a man to surrender to their seduction. And a lot of women who operate in that particular mindset wrongly assume that they are attuned to their sexuality, they know what works, but the reality is they don't. Just because you know what makes a man arrive, you know all the right moves, you know all the right buttons to push, does not necessarily make you attuned to your sexuality. In fact, it could mean that you are more attuned to men's sexuality because you have spent hours and hours doing a lot of research and finding out what works for men without taking that same time to find out what works for you. Because like I said, it's all about validation, it's all about power play. You see sex as a battlefield, where winning is not about you and your partner getting pleasure, but about how quickly you can make a man surrender to your sexual prowess, how quickly you can make him groan and quiver and maybe scream or something. That sort of validates you as a woman, which is a very bad mindset to operate from, because that means that anytime there's awkwardness in your sexual encounter, your self-confidence is going to plummet. You're going to feel like there's something wrong with you. You are not going to give yourself the opportunity to connect with a man properly. You're going to always find the quickest way to get him into the bedroom, because that is where you feel you have more power. I am not saying that you shouldn't take the time to know what works for men. That's fine and good, but it shouldn't be something that is used for validation. It shouldn't be something that is used as some sort of power play. If you have been operating in that sort of mindset, I want you to take a moment and just think about it, rethink your approach, and really try to do some soul searching and find out why you see sex as some sort of validation, see your body as some sort of validation, and try to figure out what you can do. If it means getting help, get help. Read books or something that is going to help you, okay? Now, number 5, and that is not having conversations about sexual boundaries and preferences. So in a typical relationship cycle, or in an ideal relationship cycle, it starts with the talking stage, then you have a bit of a dating, casual dating, and then you get into the relationship stage, and then you have sex. Without any conversation about sexual preferences or boundaries, we sort of adopt when we get there, we will find out approach when it comes to sex. And then when we get to the bedroom, things become awkward or weird, or he does something that is such a huge assault on your body that you feel violated. Another way this also plays out is him doing something that you really don't like, but you just go along with it instead of putting a stop to it by simply saying, babe, that doesn't feel so good. Could you please stop? You just keep quiet and you go along with it. Ladies, as you are getting to know a man, do not shy away from these types of conversations. It is important for both of you to know what you like, what you don't like, what you're willing to try and what you are not willing to try. So you see what Christian Grey did in 50 Shades of Grey, where he gave Anastasia that document with almost, if not all, the sexual acts in the world and told her to tick her soft limits, that's things she's willing to try, and hard limits, things she's never going to try. You see that? That should be done. Of course, not that extreme, but something similar. These conversations will not just lead to clarity, it will just help you understand each other better, and it will also lead to a deeper intimacy, which will do wonders for your sexual life. Now, number 6, and that is not being open to exploring and trying out new things in the bedroom. Listen, I am not saying you should wake up one morning and decide that vanilla sex is no longer for you, that now you want to go into hardcore BDSM, where you're going to be tied and collared and wear rubber and be dragged around. That is not what I'm talking about here, okay? All I'm saying is that you shouldn't be, rigid and sort of close yourself off to exploring the different aspects of your sexuality. Within reason, of course. This can be a mistake because you will end up losing out on some amazing sexual experiences. If you are in a long-term relationship, okay, doing the same thing over and over and over can get boring after a while. It just puts you in a rut, and this can create problems even outside the bedroom. So try out new things. This will enrich your sexual life, and it can lead to a deeper intimacy between you and your partner. It is even going to add excitement to your sexual life, especially if both of you are trying out something that both of you have never experienced before. So push yourself a little bit out of your sexual comfort zone. Try out new things. Be a little bit adventurous. And finally, number 7, this is not a mistake per se, but an insight, and that is not having any reaction to sexual intimacy. And what I mean here is no actual sensation at all. I had to end this video with this point due to a conversation I had with a friend of mine a while back, and it was during a time that a movie on female genital mutilation came out, and that conversation was really eye-opening because he shared with me that at the time he was dating this lady who had no reaction to sexual intimacy. And she went through her life to that stage believing that sex isn't pleasurable and that it's only pleasurable for a man. So when they started dating and he noticed what was going on, they had a conversation and he explained to her. He told me that she broke down and started crying and said, why didn't anybody ever tell her? That she just thought maybe she was just different, and maybe that's just how sexual intimacy is. That led to a whole lot of medical investigation, an awkward conversation with the parents, and then she found out the truth. That demonic and archaic process that is meant to stop women from enjoying sexual intimacy, which is, what they ended up achieving, had been done to her. Even though it was such a heartbreaking thing to find out, but at least she had some sort of understanding and clarity about her person. So if this is something you're experiencing, you need to do something. Go for medical scan, have a conversation with who you believe can give you answers, seek professional help, just do something. Don't think it is normal, because sexual intimacy is designed to elicit a response from your body. So if that's not happening at all, there could be something wrong. My prayer and hope is that if there's anything wrong, it is something that can be handled easily. And that's it for today's video, ladies. I know this topic was off brand, but I had to film this video because I was having a conversation with my friend, and she said, Ayani, listen, there are certain things women need to become aware of, and that led to this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, share your thoughts with me. You know I love hearing from you. So if any part of this resonated with you, leave a comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody, and let them know that there are a couple of things they need to learn. As always, ladies, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.